Here are 10 Mirandus mistakes you'll want to avoid in the upcoming playtest so that you can earn as much Materium as possible. After all, this isn't just any MMORPG. In this game, we're here to make some money, but that same money can quickly go down the drain if you're making some of these mistakes. So I just wanted to make this video to help you avoid as many of these mistakes as possible and keep as much Materium as you can in your pockets. But first, my name is Duyo, and if you're into making money playing video games, then go ahead and subscribe to my channel because that's all we talk about here. And go ahead and join the Mirandus Discord community that I have. There'll be a link in the description below, and I do things like share daily Mirandus tips so that you can avoid some of these mistakes. But let's dive on into mistake number one that I see happening a lot. And that is the misconception that you can buy a tent and place it anywhere in the world. Tents are considered a building, and all buildings must be placed on land deeds. So that means a hamlet, a village, a homestead, or whatever it is. A tent is a building, and it must be placed on a land deed. You can't place a tent out in the wild, no matter how much you want to. And you're like, well, it's just a tent. Okay, if it was named like Small Medic Center or something like that, if it was just named differently, there wouldn't be this misconception. The only reason people think that they can place it anywhere out in the wild is because the name of the building is a tent. So a little bit of a unfortunate naming situation here that led to some confusion, but there are so many people that thinks that they can buy a tent and place it anywhere they want out in the wild. You'll have to place it on a land deed, which leads me to another mistake that I'm going to get to later on in this list. But stick around until the end because rather than just telling you what you should avoid, I'll tell you the one thing you absolutely should do to get the biggest jump in game and earn the most Materium. And I know you won't want to miss that. All right, mistake number two is dying is very costly. So this isn't a game where you'll just want to run out there and do whatever you can and just if you die, oh well, you'll just respawn and get back into it. If you die, it's going to set you back big time on either time or money. So you'll be gaining masteries instead of like levels where you get stronger. When you do certain activities, like you kill a goblin with a sword, you gain sword mastery, and the higher your sword mastery, the better swords you can get, the better classes you can get, stuff like that. So you'll be wanting to level your masteries. When you die, you lose mastery points, and you can actually be de-leveled to where you can't equip some of your equipment anymore if you go down so far. So you don't want to die. And you can offset this by paying in Materium. But Materium is what we're here for. It's the crypto token that we're trying to earn for real life money. And so you can pay Materium, but then like you're losing real life money by doing it. So point is you don't want to die. You want to be chugging health potions. You'll be wanting to get buffs and temples. You'll be wanting to get the best gear possible, doing everything possible so that you don't die because it's really going to set you back either in time or money, and that's not what we want. That's a mistake we want to avoid. Moving on to mistake number three, spells are going to cost Materium. So again, spells are going to be really cool. But we're here to earn Materium. And so if you're out there, you learn a cool fireball spell. That's awesome. Go out there and kill some goblins with it. There will be a time and a place to be using these spells because if you just cast them willy nilly, you'll be burning through your Materium. And again, that's what we're here for, trying to earn that Materium, trying to make as much money as possible playing this game. But you could potentially be just throwing it down the toilet if you're just casting spells here, there, everywhere for no apparent reason. Cast spells with the purpose. They are going to be very powerful because they do cost Materium, so it just makes sense that they're powerful. But do it with the purpose. Don't just be casting whatever, whenever, or you're literally just wasting money. All right, mistake number four that you'll want to avoid is you don't need to bridge your NFTs into the Gala chain. At least as of now, Mirandus will be able to recognize your NFTs either in the ETH network or Gala chain network. And you could put your NFTs on your Gala profile. And there's an option to bridge it into the Gala chain. That's gonna, I think for my exemplar is like $9. It may be determined by gas fees and the time of day that you do it. I'm not sure. It's not like something I'm tracking. All I do know is that that is not necessary. So if that's $9 per NFT and you bridge over multiple exemplars, multiple boxes, let's say you got a mount or two you're trying to get in game, you don't need to waste all that money. That would just be money down the drain. Because as of now, as long as it's in your ETH wallet and your Gala profile, you're good. You can still play the game. So that'll just save you a few bucks, but it is definitely worth noting. Mistake number five you'll want to avoid is just sprinting everywhere. Sprinting is going to cost energy, and it's not like you have a stamina that recharges and a mana pool that recharges. Everything you do is going to cost energy. So if you're mining, that costs energy. If you're in combat, costs energy. If you're running, costs energy. If you're crafting, costs energy. You get the idea. And so you want to use your energy efficiently. There's also not an energy regen. As you burn your energy, now you need to eat, now you need to sleep to regain that energy, which again, that means you're spending Materium to buy the food, to sleep at the tent that's not placed anywhere, that's placed on the land deed, and you'll be regaining your energy. But if you just sprint here and there and wherever for no reason, then you're burning energy, and that it will be essentially burning Materium, or you know, you'll be needing to buy food to replace that energy. So Materium buys the food, right? And if you're going a long distance, you'll need to think, do you want to run there? And if you run there and you waste all your energy, now you're at this mine, but you can't mine because you're out of energy. So that is something to think about. It's just energy consumption in general. But one of the biggest wasters of that will be sprinting everywhere. And of course, I do have a video on mounts and why mounts are so important. And this is one of the top reasons why mounts are so important as well. So do check out that video after you finish this one. Mistake number six that people are making is thinking that you can't rent out exemplars yet. You can rent out exemplar. It's not implemented by Gala or the Mirandus team yet, but I did make a whole video on how you can already be renting out your exemplars and why it would be worth doing so that you can already start earning a passive income and regaining a little bit of the funds that you spent buying these exemplars. So there's a website called Loot Rush. It's not just for Mirandus, it's for all kinds of different video games out there that are play to earn blockchain games. And Mirandus is one of them. And what you can do is rent out your NFTs on there. Yeah, check out that video. It's how you can rent an exemplar in Mirandus. That's definitely something worth considering if you have multiple exemplars and you'll be wanting to earn your passive income on that and start making some of the money that you spent on that exemplar back to you already. Mistake number seven that you'll want to avoid in this upcoming playtest is thinking that your weapon or armor choice matters. And I know this part kind of sucks for right now. Eventually, your weapon choice will matter. Eventually, masteries will be implemented in the game. But for right now, it doesn't matter. Your weapons do damage, and your armor, gives you defense so you don't get hurt. Eventually, you'll be able to gain like spear mastery, club mastery, sword mastery, axe mastery, bow mastery, and the type of weapons that you use will matter. But that's not implemented yet. So the best way to earn the most Materium at the start of the playtest is by crafting the weapons that have the most damage. You'll kill the goblins faster, armor Materium, because no masteries are being leveled up right now anyways. Same thing with armor. Eventually, it only makes sense that light armor, medium armor is going to have some kind of stat bonus, some kind of stat boost, some kind of purpose to wear the light armor, the medium armor, but that's not implemented in the game yet. For right now, go with the highest armor that gives you the most defense. That's going to be the heavy armor, and get hurt less so that you can be out there killing longer. Eventually, they'll have it to where you can kind of customize your playstyle and what weapons or armors you're having. But for right now, if you want to earn the most Materium, just go with the highest damage and the highest defense, and don't think that the weapon choice you have matters yet. And remember, all of this is like early alpha stage testing. It's not the release of the game yet. So there is going to be situations like this, but you can start earning. So that's a mistake you'll want to avoid so that you can earn as much as possible, which is exactly what this video is about. Mistake number 8 you'll want to avoid is thinking that your exemplar bonus totally determines your playstyle. As far as we know, any exemplar can do pretty much any activity with very few exceptions, but most exemplars will be able to do most activities, and even if you don't have a specific bonus in that, you can still do it. So let's say, for example, you're an orc of the long hunt. You don't have a specific bonus to chopping down trees, but that doesn't mean that you can't. You and everybody else is going to be completely average in chopping down trees. The green cloaks gonna have a little bit of a bonus there, but that doesn't mean that nobody else can do it. Everybody will still be able to chop down trees. It's just that they're not going to have the bonus to doing that. I mean, obviously you want to stack bonuses and be specialized so that you can be in the top of your field in whatever playstyle you are. Your exemplar bonus is a great way to maximize your potential. However, it doesn't mean that you can't do anything else in the game. And a lot of people are so focused on, hey, I have to have 10 different exemplars because I'm going to need one to do this. I'll need one to do this. I'll need one to do this. Well, I'm willing to bet that if you have a level 90 mastery exemplar in chopping down trees, he's going to do better than your green cloak that's level 10 because you never play it because you're playing your other 9 exemplars. You know what I mean? So at some point, a higher mastery level is going to outweigh pretty much anything else, including the exemplar bonus. Now, obviously, some of these exemplar bonuses are like you can see in dark interiors. That's something nobody else can do. You can see at night. That's something nobody else can do. So you can see heat signatures. That's something nobody else can do. So there are specific exemplars that do have specific bonuses. Almost immune to poison damage. That's a pretty significant bonus that nobody else is going to be close to. But for the most part, especially with the gathering, the crafting, just because you don't have a bonus in it with your exemplar doesn't mean that you can't do it. And that does seem to be a pretty big mistake because a lot of people think they have to have that one specific exemplar to do it, or they're even spending more so that they have multiple exemplars and plan on playing multiple different playstyles, when really you can do just about everything in the game on one. All right, mistake number 9, and this is actually one of the biggest mistakes that you can make because it's one of the most costly mistakes. And that is thinking that just because you own a building means anything really. So first of all, there's more building slots than there are land slots. And as I already talked about with the tents, all the buildings have to be placed on a land deed. But because there's more buildings than there are landslides, not all buildings are going to be placed. So, I mean, shocker, news alert, just because you have a building doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be placed. So, if you own a building but you don't own land, be talking to the landowners. Be thinking ahead. Be like, hey, I have this archery stand. I need a place to place it. And then take that a step further. If you have an archery stand, you don't want to be placing it on a hamlet that already has 3 other archery stands. No hamlet needs 4 archery stands. Let's put it that way. So it's not just having a place to place your building, it's having a good place to place your building. So these are a couple of things to think about. Be talking with landowners on if you can place your building, and then strategically where you can place your building to be earning the most amount of Materium as possible. Because if your building isn't placed, you're not earning anything, and all the money that you spent for that building has been wasted. And then if your building is placed but isn't being used because it's the fourth out of 4 archery stands in a small town, um, you're still not going to be earning anything because nobody's using it. So this is something to consider. And because buildings are a little bit more costly than the other things that we've talked about on this list so far, it is one of the biggest mistakes that you can make just because of the price cost associated with buildings. So it is something to think about if you haven't thought about that yet. And then, of course, mistake number 10, one of the biggest mistakes I see people doing is not subscribing to my YouTube channel because I'm posting daily Mirandus tips on this YouTube channel and shorts. I also post like two, three, four Mirandus based videos on my channel every single week. And if you're not subscribed, you might be missing out on that. I have a lot of Mirandus information on this channel, so if you do want to maximize your Materium, maximize your profits in game, then subscribe to my channel, watch a couple of my videos. Trust me, you'll learn a thing or two. And if you don't learn a thing or two, go ahead and unsubscribe. I won't be offended. But I'm just saying, it just makes sense if you want to make as much money as possible. Speaking about that, you can also join the Discord community based around Mirandus. A link to that will be in the description below. I post my daily Mirandus videos there as well. I know a lot of people have learned a lot of stuff there. And I mean, I might be tooting my own horn. I do think it's a mistake if you're not following this kind of stuff because it is a lot of good Mirandus information that you'll be needing for this upcoming playtest, right? And so we've talked a lot about the mistakes that you can make that will keep you from earning as much Materium as possible. But let's talk about the one thing that you can do, and this is the biggest bonus that you can get in game so that you can be earning as much as possible in the early playtest. And that's by watching this video where I describe the whole thing. So thank you all for watching this video, and I'll see you in that other video.